staying with us here in the 9 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. We put the spotlight right now on an extremely important aspect in these pandemic times, and that is health insurance. And while there has been much conversation about, insurance companies providing and giving you a cover even for your COVID treatment, the ground reality is very different. More and more reports have actually emerged in the last several weeks where people claim that the hospitals are actually denying them admission on a cashless basis even if there is an insurance cover. And they're all insisting on upfront payment. And this has now become a big challenge. Not only that, on the other hand as well, when it comes to insurance claims, there has been much that is required to be done and much desired. For example, take the insurance scheme that was put out for the COVID warriors themselves. Now, information and data that has emerged shows that while 11 lakh claims were filed, worth about 15,568 crores, claims settled were only 9.3 lakh to 9.3 lakh insurers, with amount worth 8,918 crore. So the settlement percentage is less than 60% in this specific case. Now, a few days ago, the finance minister even addressed this issue, and she said that she has spoken to the regulators to ensure that one, the claims are settled on time in a speedy manner without any difficulties, and two, the problem which exists on ground when you go to the hospital. To talk a little bit more about that, we've got two experts who are joining us right now. Let's say good evening to Mr. Rajesh Chandramouli, Senior Editor with the Times of India in Chennai, Dr. Prakash, Managing Director at Star Health and Allied Insurance, joining us right now. Mr. Chandramouli, let's first set it up to say the various aspects where people are facing problems. Step one is to even claim this insurance at the hospital during admission. There are many reports that are coming through that the hospitals don't want to give the option of cashless. Now, has this been recognized in any information that suggests how widespread this is as a problem and what the regulators are saying about it?
First, good evening to Dr. Prakash, a good friend, and good evening to the viewers of Mirror Now. See, let me just take this discussion one step backwards. I mean, first, why does one take a medical insurance policy? One takes a medical insurance policy thinking that if I fall sick or if there is an emergency, a healthcare emergency, there is someone who's going to step in and going to take care of my financial aspects of it. Now, looking at it, if it is everything is at the discretion of the medical insurance company and the discretion of the hospital, what happens to the patient? What happens to the person who's paying the premium? Fair enough that hospitals are inflating the bills. Some hospitals are inflating the bills. Equally culpable are the medical insurance companies who are dismissing claims. You just gave an example yourself of how only 60% of the bills have been settled. Just look at the claim settlement ratio of all the medical insurance companies and ask them the pertinent question, why are they so low? That will give you the answer on what is happening on the medical insurance front. I'm not blaming anyone here. The hospitals are culpable because they see an opportunity to fleece you. The medical insurance companies, they are flooded with, if they were handling a dozen requests, they are handling 100 requests now. A dozen claims, they are handling 100 claims now. Obviously, they need to have a look at their balance sheet and their financial viability also. So it's a combination of all these which has landed the entire COVID-related Mediclaim into a big morass.
Okay, absolutely fair enough. So let's ask that question then to our guys. And Mr. Prakash, this question to you. Why are we seeing so much of delay in settling these claims? And I'm not just talking about your company, but overall in the sector, what's going on?
Hello, and thanks for the opportunity to express our views. More than calling as a delay, in these unprecedented times, when insurance claims are flowing out of proportion to the insurance companies, and insurance companies also have employees who are falling sick, We have to appreciate insurance companies and the industry for rising to the occasion and achieving business continuity. My dear friends, please note that pandemic was not known when insurance companies price a product. When the product is priced, we are not aware that there is going to be a pandemic and that is going to continue for more than a year. But we'll have to service the customers for the same premium that has been charged. So the insurance companies have also taken a lot of pain to continue their business services and to give their care to the customers. I don't want to make any questions here, but I want to be part of a solution or an answer. There may be differences between hospitals and insurance companies. You may feel that there is a delay, some delay from the insurance aspect, and there may be no standard operating procedures from the hospital side. A hospital or a consultant cannot rationalize the use of CT scan or any drug. So we do have these differences, but this is not the time to talk about differences. A common man is suffering. People are dying. So in this context, we have to align and work together and see that how we can save our community, save our people. So there is an important task ahead of us, and there are a lot of good things happening in the healthcare services, in the hospitals, and in the insurance companies. The whole ecosystem is trying to address the challenge. They are trying to be resilient and see that how they can do their best to the people. So you are talking about the insurance claims claimed and paid, but there is something called as incurred. There may be claims under reimbursement which are in the process. It is not that the balance is not given. The balance may be in the process. It may be under reimbursement. And as insurance companies, we are custodian of the common fund. We cannot close our eyes and pay whatever claim. We have to verify. We have to authenticate whether there is a proof of diagnosis, whether the treatment is in order, and is it truly the insurer that has taken the treatment. So there are a lot of responsibilities to insurance companies. We are not paying from our pocket. We are the custodian of the common fund, and insurance industry.
Okay, so Dr. Prakash, let me ask you this question then. What can be the solution to speed this up? Because granted, if you say that you need to do and follow up an entire process, your own staff is down with COVID, you are overwhelmed with the number of claims which are being made as a pandemic strikes us. What is the solution here to speed up the entire process?
That's the right question. Now, insurance companies are highly regulated, and the regulator has come forward with the direction that all insurance companies should pay their claims within 60 minutes without any delay. So now, since last 3-4 days, we are spending sleepless nights to see how we can develop a technology platform to introduce process automation, how we can equip our people, our doctors, our paramedics, to see that we can approve these claims within 60 minutes. Based on the High Court directive, there is already a circular which is being issued by the regulator, and all insurance companies are working towards giving their approval whenever the patient is in the hospital for cashless for COVID-19 claims within 60 minutes, particularly at the time of discharge. We are trying to talk to the hospitals to see that how they can submit all the documents in an orderly way as the insurance companies wanted.
Okay, so that is one aspect. All right, that is one aspect, Dr. Prakash. If I can just quickly go back to Mr. Chandramouli, the second aspect, Mr. Chandramouli, is also what the hospitals are doing. Now, while even the messaging that has come from the finance ministry or the insurance regulators looking into this matter will be largely to do with what the insurance companies are doing. Now, who looks at the fact that on ground these hospitals are denying people admission for lack of cash?
Correct. Now, what has happened is just look at the big hospitals in any big city. For example, take Chennai, where I live. I know of at least 4 or 5 hospitals which charges you 7,000 rupees per room night, which is costlier than the rent that ITC Grand Chola charges per room night, per night. I mean, isn't it crazy? 7,000, and over and above that, there are consumables, there are medical issues, the nurse fees, the technician fees, the lab technician fees, this test, that test. I mean, overall, they're making this entire exercise so expensive that it becomes unaffordable for even the best insured person to go through a minimal hospitalization requirement, should there be one. And I mean, what justification can a hospital give you for a 7,000 rupee room night for a normal room? And we're coming across cases, I mean, news reports, even yesterday, today we carried a news report saying a husband and wife, both of them were COVID infected and they were admitted in one room and the bill was 2x. They charged separately for the husband and separately for the wife for 2 rooms when both of them were in the same hospital sharing one room. What is the logic? Here comes the validity of what Dr. Prakash is saying. Some hospitals are crooks and they want to make money out of this entire exercise. And there is a difference. There's a very, very subtle difference here. The difference between profiting and profiteering. Here we are seeing insurance companies, hospitals, both profiteering, and the person who's shortchanged is the person who's taken the insurance policy. Now take the case of a person whom we have reported in the story. She's been hospitalized, and the TPA rejects all PPE claims. 17,000 rupees of PPE. She was in the hospital for 10 days. 17,000 rupees of PPE. I have the bills. And how on earth will anybody go visit the patient and check her and give her medication, be it a healthcare professional or a nurse or a ward boy? Who is going to go near her? She's a COVID patient. How can you make PPE charges as zero? How do you even justify that? To say that we will pay only for Corona cover.
Absolutely right. I'm afraid though we are out of time, but I think we are going to have another follow-up, more detailed conversation as a team also puts together, all of the information that we have, all of the examples that we're getting, and it's, it's painful to see even one family go through this. And then when the insurer turns around and says, what a large proportion of what has been used in the hospital doesn't get covered, when the hospital denies you admission despite the fact you have a cashless insurance and asks you to pay up, cough up 10 lakh rupees in advance at that minute before the admission takes place, what do you do? And I think the government also needs to look at this and question these hospitals as to how are they even asking and demanding this level of money in such desperate times. The insurance regulators, the finance ministry needs to look into the delays that are happening at the insurance fronts. If they're legitimate delays, it's all right. But if people who file their claims in the month of December and are still running around to get their money from the insurance companies, then there is a serious problem here. If only 57% of the claims that have been made so far have been settled, then that is a serious problem here. Often the attention only goes onto the central government scheme, which is for COVID warriors, which is the Pradhan Mantri insurance scheme that was announced. And there also, hardly a small amount of 200 to 300 claims have been settled. That case is now being heard by the court, and we hope what the court says isn't just applicable to that scheme, but across the sector, we are able to resolve this problem on a faster basis. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.